Story 1. Sometimes it feels like I'm stuck in a loop and not moving forward. Story 2. I regret certain things from my past so much that I am filled with negative self-talk. Story 3. I have a constant fear that I am doing everything wrong. Story 4. I have bouts of depression. I'm very good at my work, but not so good on the other side of it. When depression sets in, I shut down and ruin everything. Story 5. I have so much, but the loneliness of my marriage is tearing me apart. I have no friends here. My husband's personality has changed drastically. I am also recovering from a serious injury, and it has become a nuisance to him. He shows care only around certain people. Otherwise, I feel like a burden. I didn't ask for this. I am holding on to friends from afar, to my sense of self, to my son, and focusing on work. I love life, but I cannot keep living like this. Story 6. I continuously let people take advantage of me and settle for less than I deserve. Story 7. I have become a shell of my former self. I do not have enough passion to persevere or to create anything new, whether art, a business, or otherwise. Days all feel the same with only slight differences. It feels more like survival than enjoying or seizing the day. Story 8. I always have to fucking do the dishes. It does not even make sense how they reaccumulate every time. Story 9. Life did not turn out the way I planned. In fact, it turned out the opposite. Story 10. I have no privacy and no time alone. As an introvert, I need time alone to recharge and relax. I run a business and manage my father's care after he had a stroke 3 years ago. My mother has poor vision and hearing and has had a kidney transplant. Neither of them can drive, so I do everything for them. I want my own life. Story 11. I was thinking about this today. There is not a single part of my life that I am happy with. Work, home, and my love life all feel terrible, and I feel bad about myself. The only metric for a good day I have now is whether or not I cash in. So far today has been a good day. Story 12. As a man, sometimes I wish someone would tell me I am enough. Story 13. I feel that suffering is the fundamental substrate through which all experience flows. Our desires often feel uncontrollable, and I never feel completely fulfilled even after getting what I thought I wanted. There is always another desire waiting on the other side. I hate that suffering is so present while pleasure is easy to miss. It almost feels as if pleasure is simply the temporary cessation of suffering, not an experience in its own right. I don't know if this makes sense, but I wanted to put it out there. Story 14. No friends nearby. Both my husband and I have family members who are so toxic that we keep our distance, and it makes me sad as the years go by. 95% of our relatives have never met our child and will not because of how they treated us. It is painful, to be honest. Story 15. I cannot seem to shake the feeling of loneliness. As an introvert, it is so hard to find a spouse, let alone friends. Story 16. My business as a photographer and web writing specialist is falling apart, and the chances of surviving financially in 2025 are very small. I am burned out and cannot work as I used to. Story 17. I have no close friends or family within 12 hours of me. I have no significant other, and no one I have met wants to date me. They only want to have sex. I hate the body I was born with and the way it functions, the accommodations I must make for it, and the daily mental and physical discomfort. I also believe this body is why no one will date me. I work constantly to earn enough to live and to feel less alone, and I hate doing every little thing by myself. Simple tasks people take for granted, like bringing in groceries, feeding the cats when I am asked to house sit, going out to buy Dayquil or NyQuil when I am sick, or having a ride and companion for medical procedures, become burdensome. I am lonely, but there is nothing I can do to change it. I do not have the time or emotional bandwidth to put in 100% of the effort while everyone else puts in nothing and expects me to carry every relationship and friendship. I cannot always initiate without feeling like a burden. I do not have time to go out, and I hate bars, clubs, and crowded places. I do not have time to sleep properly right now, let alone pursue a hobby that requires leaving the house. Not that any interest me. Waking up reminds me that I have to deal with it all again. Story 18. I am married to someone who does not want to have an intimate relationship. Story 19. I always feel like something is wrong with me. I get bullied and I am an outcast at my school and I hate it. Story 20. The stigma associated with being autistic and having a mental illness. Story 21. I'm giving my fiancé a choice. He can either admit every lie he's told me, let me go through his phone, and start couples counseling with me, or we can break up. I have been the sole provider for a year now and I can't do it anymore. I can't give him money and pay his bills when I'm barely affording our rent and other expenses. I've been with him for 3 years, engaged for 1 year, and he can't even say he wants to marry me. I've stopped talking to him about finding a job, going to school, or pursuing his interests. All I do is work, clean our place, and sleep. I hate that I love him so much that I've put off breaking up with him for months because I fear he will harm himself. I suspect he's cheating on me. I feel like he's trying to baby trap me. I am afraid that if I don't do this now, this will be my life forever. I'm not happy and I want to be happy. I hate that I have to make him choose. I'm scared of what he will choose. I moved here to be with him and now I'm scared I will be alone. But when I'm with him, I'm already alone. We don't talk. He doesn't even ask me about my day anymore. Update: we broke up 2 days ago. He broke up with me, laughing out loud. He is also saying we are not broken up. He says we should work on ourselves separately and not prioritize the relationship. But we are broken up. Story 22. Sports injuries from my 20s are finally catching up. I have constant knee pain. Story 23. I do well for myself, as does my spouse. We're not in the top 10%, but we're close. I have worked hard and have been blessed and privileged to be where I am. I have been unemployed, divorced, and experienced personal traumas during my childhood and afterward. I have worked on myself and moved past those challenges. And yet every day is a struggle. I have given my family a home where my kids have their own spaces. My spouse and I can both work from home. My kids play sports, and they attend a good school that will help them pursue the paths they want in life. It is a public school, but we are out of district, so we drive a ways. I am constantly running from a meeting to school pickup to a sports event to making dinner and then passing out from exhaustion. My spouse is the same. We are still paycheck to paycheck for the most part. It is a constant, stressful balancing act. I hate that I feel this way despite my blessings, and I hate that I have to grind constantly just to be comfortable. I want to breathe, and I feel ungrateful admitting that. Story 24. I do not eat because I feel like it or just for the taste. I have to eat. Forget that nonsense. Story 25. I have polycystic ovary syndrome and insulin resistance. I went from a skinny hourglass body to gaining weight at age 20. Now I am 26 and weigh 245 pounds with abdominal weight related to my condition, and it is almost impossible for me to lose weight because of insulin resistance. My insurance, the state Medicaid program, does not cover weight loss medications, and I cannot afford them out of pocket. Story 26. I don't think I actively hate anything about my life anymore. It's by no means perfect, but I'm finally in a better place where I have much more control over my future, and that makes everything seem so much more manageable. Story 27. I moved here to start over. I had been in a relationship where I felt excluded for a long time. I'm starting to think I'll only be happy if I quit tech and work in a restaurant. I don't see people working remotely, so I'm outside the usual cliques, the ones that go to the same cafe and keep their distance while working. I'm conventionally attractive now that I've returned to my old look, but that seems to make no one talk to me here. Women ask if I own a house or seem to want a fling, then walk past me the next time I see them. Men seem to see me as competition, but at least they become friendly after I say hi a lot or ask about them. I've had a crush on someone here since I moved. We stare at each other whenever we're in the same room. I catch her looking at me, and it's obvious she catches me looking at her. I think she has a boyfriend. On Halloween she danced and looked at me sometimes. I helped her find her phone. No boyfriend took her home or made sure she was okay when she cut her finger. We both seem to short-circuit sometimes when we look at each other. I once missed a doorway and leaned on a wall while looking at her to say goodbye. She shattered a glass on Friday while reaching for it and looking up at me. I was smirking and talking about her. I wish I could get ice cream with Audrey. That's all I want. She pranced away on Halloween, and I saw a shooting star where she left. I think I'll cry if she leaves. Story 28. I feel lonely. I work and live alone, and I'm not very close to my family because of my upbringing. I do not have any friends either because I am always the one begging to hang out. I was always the person who was never invited to anything. Story 29. I do not have significant financial resources or backing. Story 30. Being stuck in a toxic relationship with no future and not having the courage to leave it. Story 31. I am codependent and aware of this. I feel like a burden. Story 32. I have schizophrenia. I am now completely reliant on my family to live. Story 33. I tend to be way too kind and generous to people, which makes it hard to know who is and isn't my real friend. When no one reaches out to you unless they need something, it can get quite lonely. Story 34. Being crippled by arthritis or whatever it is, I feel helpless and useless. Story 35. My parents separated and sold the house we used to live in. Now we live at my grandmother's house with some of my cousins. I wish we had a home of our own. I finished high school in 2019 and spent 4 years in college without studying. I am really smart, but I lack the drive to do anything. Story 36. I did not have the same development as other children and teenagers because of my abusive parents. I hate my job and my neighbors, and I experience anxiety and depression. Story 37. I have a chronic illness that affects my ability to exercise and perform everyday tasks. My dog died suddenly. I do not have many friends. The list goes on. The older you get, the more problems pile up. Story 38. I wasted 15 to 20 years smoking marijuana, playing video games, and doing nothing to improve my life. I have quit both habits now, but I feel further behind than when I started, laughing out loud. Story 39. Homeless because of a seriously toxic family. They made my 2 beloved kelpies and all my birds disappear. I had kidney cancer and a brain tumor. Both were removed. Now I have stage 4, end-stage lung cancer with a prognosis of months, not years. I have no one. Right now I am praying for this suffering to be over. Every second of my day is absolute torture. Death cannot come soon enough. Story 40. I hated drinking alcohol every night to numb the mundane parts of life. Now that I have quit drinking, life is much better. Story 41. I realized only a year or so ago that hate takes energy, and I am done feeding it. Sure, things could be amazing, but they are what they are. I can choose to see who I am and how I got here in a positive way. It is just a choice, the same as choosing to be angry about it. I am done giving my energy to negative things. I am over it. Time for a lot of happiness. Story 42. I cannot avoid misunderstandings, inconveniences, and frustration. It is nonsensical to appreciate those things. Story 43. The world is so interconnected that my small pocket of peace is endangered every day by the self-interests of the wealthy and politically connected. Story 44. It's complicated, but I'm mostly living it. Don't get me wrong. I'm in no danger, but gosh, does being alive suck? Story 45. I do everything by myself. Keeping a roof over my head, paying all my bills, cooking all my meals, doing all the laundry, keeping my place clean, and working 2 jobs. I just wish I had help. A partner to share the burden and add some excitement to my life. I worked so hard to become self-sufficient, and now I want more. Is that too much to ask? Story 46. I am poor, still live at home, and do not drive. I could be doing a lot worse. Story 47. I am 38 years old. I want children. My husband thinks my neurodivergent brain would make me a bad mother. Story 48. I started using marijuana when I was 15 and was still struggling to quit at 21. So much money and time were wasted, in my opinion. I feel bad for my younger self and for any trauma I may have caused to my body systems, especially my neurological and respiratory systems. I am working on fixing this and developing a healthy mindset that I am happy with. To anyone facing similar circumstances, you are not alone. Please stay strong. Story 49. I am 22 years old. I have no friends or family I can trust. I have chronic pain from working at a bottle shop where customers treat me poorly and I feel trapped. Multiple exes cheated on me and are now in happy relationships. My father was out of work for 20 years after a motorcycle accident in which he was pronounced dead and later revived. He broke every bone in his body. I have unresolved gender identity issues. I wanted to kill myself this morning. If you are thinking about harming yourself, please seek help now. Call your local emergency number or, if you are in the United States, dial or text 988 to reach the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. If you are elsewhere, contact your local emergency services or a crisis line. If you can, reach out to someone you trust or a mental health professional right now. Are you safe at the moment? Story 50. No friends, no partner, poverty, having to work, my appearance, my low intelligence, my family. Story 51. Not getting enough sleep, misophonia, constant stress, and feeling hopeless. Story 52. I have been betrayed or abandoned by most of my friends in life. I want at least one or two people who genuinely want to get to know me, spend time with me, and not leave me alone. I want my friendships and relationships to last, not to be a waste of time. Story 53. I feel lazy. I am overly aware of the world's problems and feel unable to do anything. I am too hard on myself. Story 54. How powerless I have been made to feel throughout my life. Story 55. I spent 3 years working hard to earn a data science degree, believing that finding a good job would not be difficult. It has been over a year now, and I still have nothing. Story 56. Anxiety and confidence. I have made huge strides in both, but life would have been much easier if my upbringing had not held me back. Story 57. Being too shy to talk or ask for help, struggling with my thoughts, and my parents' divorce. Story 58. I have congestive heart failure at 35. I can hardly do anything, not even work, and my life expectancy is very short. I can no longer fantasize about what I could become. That is hard for me. My hobby used to be weightlifting. I live in a small town and cannot stay socially connected. With heart failure and blood thinners, I cannot run on the streets or go into clubs to meet women. I am severely lonely and think about death all the time. If you are thinking about harming yourself, please seek immediate help by contacting your local emergency services or a crisis line. Story 59. My curse of horrible timing makes me feel like I am living in a simulation sometimes. Story 60. It is impossible to pretend to be non-neurodivergent, and it feels strange when people know you are off. Story 61. Gender dysphoria still affects me even after 2 completely successful gender reassignment surgeries. Story 62. How worthless I am. I have nothing to offer anyone. I wish I were somehow different, but we can only be who we are, no more, no less. Story 63. My commute, which should be a 30-minute drive in ideal conditions, usually takes an hour or more each way. I would love to move closer to work, but that would require buying a new house that would essentially double or triple my current payment. Story 64. I am grateful for my physical and mental health, for shelter, for some friends even if we do not share problems, for a living parent, and for a cat. I am unemployed. Story 65. My chronic mental and physical health issues make it difficult to enjoy life. Story 66. Growing up in an unstable, toxic environment and not realizing what toxicity really was until it was too late. Story 67. I am 42 years old, have no retirement plan, work a difficult day labor job, and have lost passion for many hobbies I once enjoyed. Story 68. I hate that I don't take more risks. I let myself be consumed by anxiety and by what the rest of the world says. Story 69. The fact that I care a lot about many things while also being wildly apathetic. Story 70. Not having sex, hugging, and people visiting me in my home. Story 71. I have an obnoxious, condescending, arrogant, self-proclaimed genius and one-upper as a coworker who needs to talk down to others to validate his fake superiority. I pretend to be dumber because I enjoy seeing how far he will go in making mistakes without help and because he refuses to believe there are things he is not good at. I love most aspects of my job, but dealing with this daily makes every Monday more frustrating. Story 72. Mental health issues. I am only 21, and I am so tired of living. I am sorry you are feeling this way. Are you safe right now? If you are in immediate danger, call your local emergency number. In the United States, call or text 988 for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. If you are elsewhere, contact your local emergency services or a local crisis line. I can help you find support nearby if you want. Story 73. My weight is a struggle. I hate being this heavy and feeling like I look terrible in everything. I find it so hard to lose for a variety of reasons. Story 74. I hate how people misunderstand me. I do things to make them comfortable and am as soft-spoken as I can be. I treat everyone well, even my friends. But somehow it is not enough and the friendships are not as close as I want them to be. I feel like someone is sabotaging my life. I am laughing out loud, but I do not know why. Story 75. I do not know how to move out during a rental crisis, and I hate living where I am. I am confused about my future and about relationships. I do not know what to do or where to go. I also hate that I do not connect with people on a deep level and that I seem unable to meet people of quality who I want to be friends with. I do not have many friends and have no one to live with. I have experienced constant change for many years. I just want to own my own home, be stable, and earn enough money. I am angry and uncertain about the future and about where the world is headed. I want to move away, but I am clueless about how to find a job and housing in a completely different place. I have been burned by toxic workplaces in the past, and I am afraid of ending up in a bad or jobless situation again. It feels overwhelming at times, and I feel like I make no progress. Story 76. I was born with a disorder called nystagmus, which currently has no treatment, and surgeries carry high risks and are expensive. Story 77. The easiest question to answer is my work colleagues, who make me hate a job I would otherwise love. And here I am, hostage to my own choices. Story 78. I struggle. I am decently smart, reasonably good-looking, but not very socially well-adjusted. I have to work a physically demanding manual labor job to get by. I have always had a difficult time dating and making friends. I feel like life is passing me by, and I am not sure what to do about it. Story 79. My medical issues are worsening. I am 39, and most days I feel at least twice that age. Story 80. Whenever something positive happens to me and my family, it's usually swiftly followed by something extremely bad. I have been stuck in this loop for about 10 years now, and sometimes it physically, mentally, and emotionally breaks me. No matter how prepared we are, something unexpected just pops up. Story 81. I feel inadequate in friendships with my family and in not having a significant other. I feel isolated and stupid because I have never been good enough for people to care about. Story 82. I have to see my ex-girlfriend every day at school. Life moves on, but I stay stuck. I just want to scream fuck you. Story 83. I am the child of rape and incest and have never fully received my mother's love. Story 84. Insecurities, negative thinking, lack of motivation, procrastination, a severe inferiority complex, low confidence, and concerns about my appearance. Story 85. My insomnia and chronic pain keep me from pursuing my dreams of becoming a singer and have started to affect my relationships. I despise them. Story 86. Never feeling content with it and always feeling like I'm one step behind where I should be. Story 87. I was talking to my coworker and said, I know you're supposed to struggle in your 20s, but my God. She replied, yeah, well, I never struggled as much as you. Story 88. I know exactly what I need to do, but I cannot ever get myself to do it. Story 89. You know what is really messed up? If you are around in 10 or 15 years, you will think back to this moment and realize how good you had it then. Story 90. There is so much to do in this life, including beautiful landscapes and more. Yet we are forced to go to school, college, and work until we die. Story 91. This whole trendy bullshit of bashing men will pass. Men are irrefutably valuable in this world. We'd be nothing without the value, support, and contributions men have made and continue to make. Ignore the noise. Many women love and appreciate good men. Story 92. I have been through this in my life, but despite that I keep going. No one seems to notice or care. Some days it feels so much easier to stop pushing and let my depression swallow me whole. Of course, that is exactly when people would notice and criticize me. I just want someone to be proud of me for once. Story 93. I do not have my driver license yet. I am 20 years old, so I lack freedom. I am taking the test again this Saturday. Story 94. I have no real friends. I have been in college for about 3 years and have not made any progress. My life feels stuck in a perpetual loop, and I am constantly miserable. Story 95. When you take 2 steps forward, life seems to find a way to take you 6 steps backward. Story 96. I have a hard time with other people. I grew up poor as an only child with no father figure. I am angry about what I missed, and I lack some fundamental knowledge that people in nuclear families experience daily. I feel like I am from another world, and sometimes I am treated that way. I wish I knew better, but I do not. It is like a wall separates me from normalcy, and I am completely on the outside looking in. I have no one to blame, which makes me angry at myself. It would be wonderful to move forward. At this rate, I will remain alone and even seek solitude. It is exhausting trying to find my way in this world. Story 97. I hate that our society is set up this way. I'm actually doing great in life, but I still don't like working an 8-to-5 desk job. Story 98. I am living without the love of my life and miss them constantly, no matter how much time passes. Story 99. Turning 40 is hard, but my kids keep me going. They drive me nuts at times, and I do not know what I would do without them. Story 100. I'm really sorry you're feeling so overwhelmed. Are you thinking about harming yourself or ending your life right now? If you are in immediate danger, please call emergency services, for example, 911 in the United States, or go to the nearest emergency department. United States, call or text 988 to reach the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. United Kingdom and Republic of Ireland, Samaritans 116 123. Australia, Lifeline 13 11 14. Canada, Canada Suicide Prevention Service 1-833-456-4566. If you are elsewhere, please contact local emergency services or your local crisis line. Please consider reaching out to someone you trust or a mental health professional right now. Edited text. Bipolar disorder has really ruined every aspect of my life. I shouldn't have to spend this much energy every day trying not to end my life. Story 101. Mosquitoes account for about 50% of the reason I hate going outdoors. Story 102. What I do not hate about my life would be a much shorter list. Story 103. The list of things I love about it would be quicker to write. Story 104. I am not able to work properly. I get a job, end up hating life, and then quit. It is a repeating cycle. Now I am stuck without work, and my wife wants to leave me because I do not work or provide. It is so depressing. Story 105. As a 21-year-old female, I feel that most people my age are working toward nothing. The middle class has become the new upper class. We do not stand a chance, yet we are the ones most criticized by baby boomers for not wanting to work. Story 106. I am grateful for my life, but right now I hate that I think about work too much because I am worried about money. It feels like half my brain is not present when I am with my husband or child. None of this will matter in 1, 3, or 5 years, and I do not want to lose this precious time with him. I am struggling to juggle work, parenting, my relationship, personal issues, and everyday life. I miss my friend who took her life 3 months ago and feel very alone in my grief. It will all be all right in the end. It is riding out this wave in the meantime that really sucks. Story 107. I feel like what I am doing is getting me nowhere, as if my life is a gigantic waste. Story 108. Going to work. And no, it is not my job, it is any job. The requirement that I get up and do something I do not want to do. Story 109. I know it's something I could easily change, but I hate how lazy I can be. I sometimes delay things for no reason when I could do them immediately. Story 110. I can cheer other people on to experience everything in life, but I do not do the same for myself. I distance myself from others so I will not have to talk about myself, because I dropped out of college. I am trying to get over my people-pleasing, overly nice phase because I was kind of raised that way. I still have hope that I will turn things around by next year. I am taking baby steps and trying to stop outpacing everyone around me. Sorry if this is all over the place. Story 111. I served more than 20 years in prison. I have been out 9 years. I am all messed up. I struggle to feel any happiness. Anger and sadness are what I feel most of the time. Story 112. Monotony. The drudgery and sameness of every day is utterly exhausting. I know we can't be doing wildly exciting things every day, but capitalism has taken so much from us. I just feel like I'm on a hamster wheel that won't stop. I'm tired. Story 113. Not being able to save money. Not being able to plan for the future. Constantly worrying about becoming homeless. Not having money to go out. Not being able to find a job that pays the cost of living. If things don't turn around, I'm afraid I might act on these thoughts and I need help. I'm really sorry you're feeling this way. Are you safe right now? If you are in immediate danger, call your local emergency number or go to the nearest emergency room. If you are in the United States, call or text 988 to reach the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. If you are outside the United States, please contact your local emergency services or a local crisis hotline. Tell me your country or region and I will help find a crisis line. If you can, reach out to someone you trust right now. Story 114. The only thing I hate about my life is that it's more than half over, and I wasted a few days I would love to have back. Youth is wasted on the young, a smart person once said. Story 115. I had no debt and was in the best mental place I had ever been, for only a year until my world caved in. Ever since, I cannot seem to catch a break. Everything keeps going wrong. Circumstances have put me back in debt to the point that my wages were garnished. I am close to retirement age and had my life together until 4 years ago. I am now alone, lonely, bitter, and completely lost. That is what I hate. Story 116. I do not hate anything about my life. 30 years ago, I rejected the concepts of perfection and consumerism. I do not give or receive gifts. I like old, run-down, worn-out things. All of that created a feeling of freedom. Story 117. I used to make a ridiculous amount of money. I didn't know when payday was, didn't understand how much the items in my cart cost altogether, and didn't consider how getting the flu might affect others financially. Now I have my own business. I've been following my dream for 2 years and I have to count pennies. I went from managing software developers at the country's top financial institution to building guitars full-time in my garage. I was humbled and embraced the changes. I hate having to skip filling my gas tank because I'm broke, turning down friends' invitations, and feeling like spontaneous plans are out of reach. Still, I'm happier now than when I was working 75-hour weeks and couldn't be fully present with my son except between late night and early morning meetings. Story 118. Watching a genocide live and feeling powerless to do anything. Story 119. I feel stuck in a capitalist world. I apply for jobs every day and receive no offers. I am trying to find a stable partner, but social media creates the illusion of endless options. I want to pursue creative work rather than spend my best years at a company that could fire me at any moment. I try to make new friends, but most people already have established groups and are not open to newcomers. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.